Hi, Charles, cultural mechanic. Today we're going to talk about formality as a mechanic, for formality and professionalism. We're going to talk about when you first interact with the customer, the image you present while you're on the job, doing the job with the customer, and then after you're done with the job. And it's just some kind of a ways to help some of you new business owners or even new technicians to help present yourself in a professional manner. Okay, so the first thing it's going to start with is your first customer interaction. How do they contact you? Is it a phone call, or is it an email, or is it a message? I get a lot of Yelp messages. I get a lot of text messages. I much prefer text messages over phone calls because texts are a lot faster to respond to. I have a lot of preloaded messages in my phone that I can just instantly, when they ask for a diagnostic, I just type a little shortcut into my phone. Boom, they get my diagnostic spiel. It answers the most commonly answered questions or the most commonly asked questions. Okay, and then how do you respond to them on messages too? Like, are you quick? Are you responsive? Do you provide easy to understand expectations? Managing customers' expectations is very important. You don't want to tell them you can give them the world for 1 hour of diagnostics when really you're going to need a couple of hours. Okay, so really managing what you can actually do for them and not overselling your skill set. If you don't know how to do something, just tell them. Customers really respect that. Okay, and then when you answer the phone, okay, this is really important. I get a lot of businesses that I call when you call them, they just say hello, and then your response as a customer is, "Hello, is this the business I'm calling?" So when you answer the phone as a business owner, you say, "Hello, this is state your business. How can we help you?" Okay, that really helps the customer to understand that yes, this is the business I'm trying to call, and this is what they do. Okay, so the first thing I say is, "This is James with Quantum Mobile Mechanic. How can I help you?" Mobile mechanic. It gives them it makes them understand that I am a mobile mechanic. So it eliminates that first question that most people ask is this the mobile mechanic? Is this the mobile service? Do you come to me? I still get those, but I try to answer them as respectfully as possible. Okay. And then I grew up kind of in the South or the Midwest, whatever. I like to say sir and ma'am. So yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, or yes, please, no, please. That goes a long ways, especially with some of the older generations out there. Okay. And then the other thing, when we talk about managing expectations, some people might ask, are you licensed, and things like that. So I always like to, if they ask, I like to have it ready, but we are bonded and insured. We're ASC certified. I also make my customers sign a waiver. I send them over a formal estimate that has a little spiel at the bottom that I've had lawyers check out. And that basically it kind of absolves me from any kind of things. And we'll talk about that later if you guys want. But there's a little bitty waiver at the bottom, and then we can make an appointment. And I like to hold true to the appointments. That's part of the first customer interaction is when can you come out? And then holding true to that. And I used to give a 1 hour window, but now because it's a little bit volatile with traffic and stuff like that, I give a 4 hour window now, and that's helped tremendously. Sometimes customers need a very small window, and I try to work with them. But usually, when you give them a 3 or 4 hour window, it gives me the flexibility to move things around based on the area that I'm driving to and how traffic looks, and if a job that I think is going to take an hour takes two, either because I underquoted it, which is unlikely, or because the customer has an add-on. They have another car they want me to look at or something like that. So just something to be mindful of. Okay, so the next thing is your image. Let's talk about what I'm wearing right here. Okay, we'll talk about some do's and don'ts. Okay, so some do's. I like Dickies pants. I think Dickies makes the absolute best pants. They're dark. Get yourself a nice colored dark set of pants. I've had these for over a year now, and I've done all kinds of work, and they're stained if you look close, but you really can't tell. So a nice dark set of Dickies pants, and they still look kind of professional. I actually used to wear these when I would teach as almost like business casual, okay, before they got all dirty. So these are really good pants to have, and they're cheap, and I like cheap. Um, these are red cap shirts. I really like these red cap shirts. I like a shirt that is not going to scratch the customer's car. You'll hear me say that a lot, is to not scratch the customer's car. So I like to wear these red cap shirts. The fabric is meant to not scratch. The buttons are hidden. Okay, that's very important. You don't want to have exposed buttons. And overall, it's just a nice shirt. It looks professional. Once again, it's dark, so it hides a lot of the stains and stuff like that. This is actually a newer shirt, but even one of my older, more used shirts, they don't look too bad, even if they have stains, because it's hidden very well. I used to wear pink shirts because it's my business color, and pink is really hard to keep clean. I was buying shirts all the time, so try to stay away from that. The next thing is, how do you look from the neck up? Okay, you want to look professional to the customer, but you also want to be true to yourself. So if you want to have a beard, have a beard. I have a beard. I don't always, but I do now. But make sure it's nice. It's cleaned up. Make sure you make it look nice and presentable. If your hair is all wild, that's fine. keep it in a ponytail or a bun or whatever. But you want to have yourself look a little bit clean cut. It adds that one extra level. I used to tell my students when they went to go to boards to pretend that you're going to talk to an old Southern Baptist preacher. You know, they're going to be judging you right off the bat, because I'd rather get a customer based on how I look than to lose one if I come looking kind of shabby. Okay, and if you want to wear a hat, that's fine too. You know, this is an old dirty hat that I wear, and it's nice. It keeps my hair clean when it's all, you know, when I'm underneath the car, or when it's windy, or if I have to get underneath. And I like that the bill kind of moves and flaps. I don't like ball caps. So these are nice, and it looks, you know, it kind of adds to my image, so to speak. So I like these hats a lot. If you have questions about it, let me know. And then gloves. So when you get to the job, the very first thing I do, I almost always grab a pair of gloves. And gloves are important because not only do they keep your hands clean, but it adds a little bit more, another step of professionalism to the customer. If you're taking care of yourself, maybe the customer will believe that you're going to take care of their vehicle as well. So gloves, I always wear gloves. I hardly ever do anything without gloves. I first thing I do when I pull up to a customer's house, put the gloves on, and I'm almost shaking their hands as I'm putting the gloves on. Okay, even if I'm doing something really simple like a diagnostic, always got to wear gloves. I don't want to get dirty. The reason being is because I don't like washing my hands, and I really don't like getting dirty, but I don't like washing my hands. So when my hands get all dirty and filthy, and I have to get back inside the car, I don't want to have to waste time washing my hands before I get in. So if I'm going to get back in the car, I shed the old gloves. Boom. Now I have nice, clean hands. I can grab their steering wheel. I can manipulate their keys or the parking brake, or whatever the case may be. But it lets me operate their vehicle without getting it dirty. The first time you ever get into a white leather car when you're all covered in crap, that's a no-go. And you can even go as far as to put seat covers and floor mats down. They're really, really cheap. You can buy them. If you're soiled, you're worried about your body being dirty, something to think about. Okay, and then so let's talk about some don'ts. Okay, you definitely don't want to be wearing jeans. You know, blue jeans are gonna show that how dirty they are. No light colors. Like I said, I used to wear pink, and it's just really hard to keep clean. Try to steer clear of wearing a t-shirt. If you are going to wear a t-shirt, have your logo on it. Make it black or gray or dark blue or something like that. Don't be smoking a cigarette while you're on the job. Don't be taking personal calls. I do take business calls in front of a customer, but I make sure I let the customer know, hey, I'm going to take a call. I answer the call. I usually have AirPods in so I can work while I'm taking calls to try to be productive. And I try to keep the calls short and sweet when I'm on a job. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you're not going to have dirty hands, like I said. You don't want to scratch their car. Okay. You're going to hear me say that a lot. So kind of along with the attire, I wear this belt. This is a Dickies belt. It's a no scratch belt. It's all leather. I really don't need a belt. My pants fit really well, but the belt, you don't want to have an exposed belt buckle or any kind of clasps here, because you don't want to accidentally scratch up the car or give the customer the impression that you might scratch the car. Okay, so that's very important. Okay. Also, you want to make sure your clothes don't have a lot of holes in it. You want to make sure that they're not all soiled. And then the boots. I'm wearing boots. I don't know if you guys can see it. You don't have to wear boots. They don't even have to be steel toe. But I wear boots for a number of reasons. One, it looks a bit more professional. Two, it protects my feet a little bit. But really what it is if I have to go do a diagnostic for a local shop, okay, I don't want to go to that local shop wearing tennis shoes, because they might have some sort of rule that says you can't enter the floor with tennis shoes or without some sort of boot. So I like to wear a decent boot. Okay, they're cheap. I don't spend a lot of money. I go through about a pair of boots every 6 to 8 months. Okay. All right. Next thing is what I keep on my body, kind of like my EDC, if you will. Okay. So I carry this really nice snap-on flashlight in the pocket. You got to have a light, but I keep it in the pocket. I don't like to have anything exposed. All right. No clips, no knife. I don't understand the need for a knife for a mechanic, but no knife, nothing exposed. My keys to my van don't go in my belt loop, nothing like that. Nothing exposed, because I don't want it, like I said, scratch the car, give the customer the impression that I might scratch the car. So a really good light. I like to have one of those. And then pocket screwdriver, you got to have one of those. A pen always. And then a nice, good, strong magnet. I hate bending over to pick stuff up. I'm lazy. So a nice, good, strong magnet. And then on this side, just some business cards and a Google review card. Okay, that's what I keep. That's it. I don't go overboard with what's in my pockets, and I try really, really hard not to have anything exposed that could possibly scratch the car. So very, very important. The next thing for attire, let's talk about when you drive up. Okay, is what vehicle you're going to drive. So I drive, like I said, a Chevy or a GMC Savannah. And it looks professional. It's a far sight better than coming in like your Honda CRV or anything like that. But if you have a pickup or you have a van or something like that, or even if you are rocking the Honda CRV or a Toyota Prius or whatever the case may be, a Camry, make sure it looks professional. Okay. If you have bumper stickers on the back that are political in nature, try to get rid of them. Try to put your business logo on there. Okay, try to keep it professional. The next thing is the logo. Okay, and I'm going to do a full video about branding, but this is my logo. I want the customer to recognize the logo. Okay, that's important to me. All right, and then how you set your tools up. So first thing I do when I get to any job is I set my tools up like this. Okay, you're going to see the cart with my tools. This is my 90% box. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link for it. But this right here does pretty much everything I need, and I pull it out even if I know I'm not going to use it. Okay, so very important to have yourself something professional. You do not want to be putting your tools all over the customer's car. Okay, I don't like doing that. I don't like putting my tools on the wiper motors or on the engine bay or anything like that, and I definitely don't like having my tools on the ground. So something like this helps you to keep your tools clean and professional, and it rolls around. It's gimbal. It's really nice. A cart like this is really good. And then I like to use these to help organize my nuts and bolts and some of my tools. I have all different sizes of those depending on what I'm doing. So very, very important there. Okay, keep your tools clean. And then the next thing is the lay down area. So if you're working on a car that you know is going to make a mess, especially if you're doing an oil change or any kind of fluid change, a differential fluid or anything like that, obviously you want to have a catch for the fluid. But I also go a little bit extra and I put down a lay down area just in case some of that fluid slips out, I overflow it, or I forgot to remove the drain plug or whatever the case may be. I put a lay down area over it just in case, so that way if it does splash out or the wind hits the stream just right and it blows it over, it's not going to be getting on their driveway. It's going to be contained within my little lay down area. So very important to me. Okay, and another thing is the next thing we're going to talk about is during the actual service call as well, is how are you talking to the customer. Okay, keep your conversation respectful. And they say to avoid politics and religion and stuff like that. You can talk about whatever you want, just be respectful and listen to the customer. Almost every single time I get to the customer's house, I tell them I encourage them to watch me do the work. Okay, I would prefer that they watch me do the work for a number of reasons. One of them being if something breaks, I can either own up to it. I can say, hey, that was going to break anyway, or I can honestly say, hey, it was like that when I found it and you found it with me. Okay, so and it also provides a little bit more respect for the craft. Okay, if they see how hard I'm working and see how diligent I'm doing their work, they'll have a little bit more respect for what's going on. And oftentimes customers like to ask questions. One of the biggest things I found with hiring technicians is their ego is so big they don't like to be questioned at all. I love it. I love explaining them what's going on with their car. I love proving the diagnostic. I will always prove the diagnostic to them. I'm not just going to say, oh, it needs a new camshaft sensor. I'm going to say it needs a new camshaft sensor, and this is what I did to diagnose it and why it needs a new camshaft sensor. I don't guess when it comes to diagnostics, okay? And if I am guessing because the diagnostic is a little bit too difficult, I'll tell them, hey, it's a very high likelihood that it's your ECM or it's this or it's that or your ECU, and then you can kind of go from there. But the important thing is being able to converse with the customer while they're there looking over your back without without feeling like you're being attacked. They just want to learn about their car. They're calling you because they don't know much about cars. And so having that enthusiasm to teach them, it really, really, really goes a long way. Okay, and you definitely don't want to be cussing. You don't want to be, if you're trying to get something out and the bolt's stuck, you don't want to be cussing and throwing stuff and getting angry at it. That just makes you look, it just makes you look silly, and you don't want to look silly in front of a customer. Okay, the next thing is you want to make sure the customer feels safe. Okay, so part of my image and part of why I like to look so professional is when you show up to a customer. A lot of my customers are female, hence why I have the pink. But when you show up to the customer, you want to make sure that they feel safe. Okay. I oftentimes give the customer the opportunity, especially if I know that they're a younger person or maybe single or whatever, they're a little apprehensive about having someone come to their house. I get that. So I'll tell them, hey, if you don't want to interact with me at all, that's fine. Let's put your keys in the mailbox, okay? Or let's put your keys, in the wheel well or something like that. Give them the option to stay behind a locked door, okay? Make them feel safe. That's very important to me, okay? Make them do that. And never, ever, 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 ever go inside the customer's house. That's a whole bag of worms you do not want to deal with. If you have to use the restroom, or if they offer you inside for a drink or food or whatever, that's fine. Take the drink, take the food. Don't go inside, okay? Eat it outside. I don't care. You do not want to go inside. That's a whole bag of worms I don't even want to get into. Don't go inside. And if you have to use the restroom, pack your stuff up, go somewhere else to use the restroom, okay? Don't use the customer's house. That's wildly unprofessional. Okay, and then also to kind of go along with the diagnosing parts and teaching the customers, I like to show them the old part as well. You know, when I get there, I show them this is the new one we're putting in, and then when I'm done, I say, hey, this is the old one we took out. You know, there's a ton of scams out there where people don't actually replace the parts they say they're replacing, and I just want to make sure the customer feels safe and feels confident that the repairs that they pay for actually got done. Okay, and then when you're done and you've left, I always send the customer follow up either that night or the next day. Hey, I hope the car's running great. You know, if you have any other questions, concerns, you let me know. And if they ask for another estimate, you make sure you get them that estimate later in the day. And then that's also, especially if I know the customer's happy, I'll send them a review link. Like I said, on my phone, I have a lot of predetermined text shortcuts, and I have a shortcut for reviews. Hey, I'm glad we worked on your car. If you're happy with the service, please leave us a review. And here's the link to Google and Yelp, okay? And trust me, I'm going to go into a lot more about how to get 5-star reviews on Google and Yelp. I have almost every single one of my reviews are 5-star reviews. I have no 4-star reviews, and the only like 3 or 4 1-star reviews I have out of like 100 or something like that is because the customer is just wildly unreasonable. And a lot of them is work I didn't even do for customers. So that's a whole other topic for a whole other day. But professionalism is important, okay? So if you guys have any questions, if you have any comments, and I'm sure I missed something, so put it in the comments down below. If you think that, if you have a question, or if you think I should have covered something that I didn't cover, or if I'm kind of talking kind of fast too. If you have some recommendations on how to make my videos better, I love that interaction with you guys. So please let me know. And thanks again for watching, guys, and thanks for the support. Have a great day.